Hey, what's going on, guys? Colo on Wheels here, and today what we're going to be talking about is how to get your CDL permit and how to get your CDL license. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, like, subscribe, and share with a friend, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's get started. Alright, so the first thing you guys are going to need, if you're looking to get your permit, pretty much any state, there's two things you can do. One of them is pick up the CDL driver's manual. I think that's what it's called. But it's pretty much just a manual giving you the understanding of commercial driving and all the aspects of what will be on the permit test. Now, the way I did it, it was pretty much different. I downloaded this app. It's called CDL Prep. I'm gonna leave a link to this in the comment section or even in the description. So just take a look at that. Pretty much all that's doing is giving you the testing preview on all three of the categories that you're gonna be looking to test on to get your permit. One of them is going to be general knowledge. The second one will be air brakes. And then the third will be combination. Once you pass these three, you'll decide if you're looking to take your Class B or your Class A. I definitely suggest Class A just because at that point you'll be able to drive pretty much anything as far as like what type of trucks you're looking at. So you're looking at a 53 footer or any type of 32 footer or even like a simple little small straight truck with air brakes. You'll be able to drive that if you take the Class A, just because you're at the highest step you can go. Only thing that you can't pretty much do is like anything that has to do with hazardous materials or tankers or anything like that. That's because you need endorsements on your license. So right off the back, you're going to get an endorsement of air brakes. That's your first endorsement you'll get once you take that air brakes test for your permit. The second thing you're going to be focusing on is figuring out how you want to get your CDL. Now, lately, since the regulations have passed last year on February 7th, there is now a requirement for ELDT training or an entry-level driver training to get your license. So if you're looking to get your license somewhere, you do have to have this class or this type of training, and that is required for your Class A, your Class B. I think it's required for a school bus if you want to drive a school bus, anything like that. Passenger endorsement, anything in that area, you will have to take the entry-level driver training. There's also some for the hazmat as well. I probably just said that. I'm sorry. But overall, once you take that entry-level driver training, that's how you get into the last step where you take your road test, which consists of you doing the pre-trip, the air brakes test, I want to say is called, the skills test, and then of course you take a road test at the end. I'll try to give you guys a good description of how that will look as far as your actual test for your license. But the biggest goal is to find a company that will train you. For instance, I got my license through Coca-Cola United. At the time when I first got hired, they didn't even have the class, so I pretty much worked around for about 6 months, and then they created this training program in the headquarters, of course. And I went down there for about 5 weeks. They pretty much taught me everything from the ground up. So pre-trip, the skills test, which is just backing up different ways. So you got straight back, which is just backing the truck straight up. Well, straight back, I'm sorry. And then you also have the offset, where you're pretty much at a diagonal starting point. And then, of course, you have the 90 degree, which is more like an alley dock, where you pretty much turn horizontal. And then you're going to back pretty much 90 degrees into your endpoint. It's not hard to learn at all, I promise you. Most of us that were in that first class were getting it probably after the first or second week of doing it. So it's not bad at all. So you have companies like that. If you're looking to be local, Buffalo Rock does it too, which you would look at as Pepsi, basically. Both of those are very local. You do have some other companies that may do it that I'm not too keen of, but a lot of other companies that do it, they're more of the regional / OTR. So you got Warner Enterprises, I think it's called, or you got Swift. I want to say you have I can't pronounce it right. Well, you also have Knight Transportation. You have Schneider. I want to say they train you as well. TMC, which is a flatbed company. There are tons of companies out there that will, train you to get your license. I'm gonna leave a link for those as well in the description. Just to give you a link to a blog that pretty much talks about all of them. The starting point range for most of these jobs here, depending on where you're going to, I want to say is around $55,000 starting out to around $80,000. That high end point will be this company called GP Transco. I think that's what they're called. They're a pretty good company. So my biggest thing is focus on passing the permit test, and then kind of guide your focus over to worrying about the training, because the training is going to come as far as being in the vehicle and pre-trip. Definitely look at a lot of YouTube videos on pre-tripping the truck. There may be a lot of cases where you go to a certain company that trains you to get your CDL. They're going to show you the ins and outs of it, because once you get to the actual license test, you could get any type of form as far as the test goes. So some forms require you to do the in-cab and, let's say, the coupling system. Some of them make you, do the trailer and maybe the engine of the trunk, of the truck. I don't know why I can't talk right now. But pretty much there's different forms of it that you can get. There's always a combination of two, if I'm not mistaken. I was fortunate enough to get the whole truck. So, of course, it was just pretty much a random selection. It's like a computerized selection. They don't know anything until they get out there to give you the test. But once you put all your focus into the permit test and pass that, that's where you want to start grinding towards like getting some hands-on driving and whatnot, because there's no special requirement of how many hours you need with the entry-level driver training once you get into the company that provides you the training and whatnot. But so you want to learn as much as possible before you take the test. It's not hard. Like I said, the biggest thing to practice is the pre-trip. Everything as far as driving will come to you. Another big thing I want to point out is always try to get get no restriction on your license. What that means is you don't want to be restricted to a automatic. It makes you a better candidate than those who have a restriction on their license. So I would definitely look into testing with a manual truck. I know if you've never driven a stick shift truck before, or a stick shift car in general, it is not as bad as it seems. I took one. I took a test in the manual. I never have drove anything with a stick shift, and it worked out perfectly for me. Of course, we did have an older truck at the time, so it was a little harsh at some points. But overall, I did a pretty good job. So I would definitely suggest that. One of my biggest things I would say to point out is make sure you be aware if you're taking the test and doing a skills test. Always use your pull-ups that they give you. They allow you to pull up a certain amount of times. It varies from testing site. And they also give you, I think, a couple chances to get out the truck itself and look at what point you're at. Because there's going to be cones. It's almost like a little obstacle course for the skills test. So you're going to have cones where you're backing up when you're doing your straight back and 90-degree and offset. So you got to make sure you're aware of where those cones are at all times. On your road test, you're pretty much just going to go into the city unless they have some type of obstacle course set up, which I highly doubt. Most times you're going to be in live traffic on the road test, so you just have to be aware of everything you're doing. Keep your eyes on the road. Keep your eyes on all the signs as you pass by, so you're able to tell them. Like sometimes they'll ask you, "Hey, what was that sign?" You have to be able to tell them, so that way they can make sure that you're being aware of everything that's going on. But like I said, guys, I'm gonna make sure I put links to all these things that I'm talking about, from the entry-level driver trainings to getting your permit. Some type of study material that will help you efficiently. The same stuff that I use. And on top of that, I'll also leave a link for these different companies that will actually take you and train you. I remember one company, which was TMC. I did list them earlier. They offered to pretty much give me a rental car, and I was going to drive to South Carolina from my location, and I was going to have free lodging, and I was just going to be paid to basically train and get my CDL. I think upon getting my CDL license, of course you have to have your permit before you go up there. But once you get your license, they pretty much put you with another person that is more of a senior within this job. You train with them in a regional area driving, and then after so many weeks or so, they do put you by yourself. And then, of course, you get your pay and whatnot that whole time. It increases from the smaller trainee pay that you got while in school or training to the regular employee pay. So there's tons of companies out there. My suggestions to everyone is when you're first getting your permit, if possible, that same app I told you about that I use to study, the CDL prep app, use that to go ahead and get your hazmat and tankers endorsements. The reason why is because if you want to make the most money in this in the commercial driving world, you do want to have those two endorsements. They make a huge difference. Doubles and triples endorsements also, they make a huge difference. That's where you can haul, 2 trailers at one time. If you're looking to be a shuttle driver who just pretty much drops and hooks all day, different trailers, definitely look into that as well. But my biggest suggestion would be hazmat and tankers. You don't need anything for tankers as far as ELDT as well as doubles endorsement. But for the hazmat endorsement, you do need a entry-level driver training. The good side about that one is it can be completed online. I'm actually an owner of the DLA Academy. I'll leave a link to that as well. That pretty much helps you get your hazmat endorsement as far as the steps go. So for the hazmat endorsement, you would need to take the test at the DMV, your local DMV, like you do the permit test. And then after that, or beforehand, you do need to complete an entry-level driver training. My driver training pretty much takes about an hour to complete, and then I submit it online to your DMV. So, or there's this type of database that they can access. They see it. You take your test in the at the office. They put your endorsement on your permit or license, whatever you're getting, and that's pretty much it. I think one of the only last things that you have to do that I always have to remind people, you do have to go to the TSA that's in your area, and you have to get fingerprinted and get a background check. But that pretty much sums up everything for this video. I may have left some stuff out. Like I said, it was just a few things I want to talk about to summarize this. So if you guys have anything that I probably missed out or probably forgot to mention, just leave a comment in the comment section below. I'll be sure to answer as soon as I see it. Promise you I'm pretty quick on responding to comments here. I'm not a huge YouTube channel right now, but I definitely try to help everybody out that just wants to know more about this world. So like I said before, if you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, or share with a friend. Also subscribe. It helps a lot when you guys subscribe. It's helping get this video out to more people who are looking for this type of material. So like I said, guys, this was pretty much my video I wanted to put a lot of focus on this week, and that's why I didn't post earlier. But other than that, you guys don't have any types of questions or anything. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next video.